As you may or may not know, I'm a starving college student. So to make a little extra money in my spare time, I become a lab rat, guinea pig, test subject, participant. Yes, participant. That is the politically correct term to call a guinea pig nowadays. I'm participating because I have an active involvement in it, except not really. I show up and they give me monies. Yeah, it's Canadian. I just got back from Canada, in case you were wondering. I don't do anything that involves ingesting any strange drugs. Mostly I just do psychology studies and I fill out a lot of surveys and I'm like, yes, I'm happy today. Yay. So I'm a psychology major and a huge nerd, and then I can be all like, yay, it's educational and they're giving me money. It's a pretty good deal to just fill out some multiple choice circles, get some money. But I've always felt that the absolute best kind of psychology study is the MRI studies. I don't know, it just seems really cool. You get to see what your brain looks like. You're just sitting there in a tube for like an hour. That's pretty easy. I can sit still for an hour. Can I? Yeah, I've been a living statue, so I am an expert at sitting still. You know, I could have just freeze framed that and not have actually had to sit still for a little bit. That would have been so much easier, so much less work. See, sitting still is actually work. I don't know if you do that, but they'll pay you to sit still in a machine. Now see, the problem with these MRI studies is that they hate lefties. I am a lefty. I am so proud to be a lefty. Lefty pride, man. Lefty pride. It should be like the lefty pride symbol, somebody with like a pen writing with their left hand. But then the right-handed people could just steal it by mirroring the image and they'd never know that they stole it from the lefties, and they'd just be like, oh, it's ours because we're so cool because we're right-handed. No. Okay? Us left-handed people are awesome. But the thing is, the MRI people, they hate lefties. I find the study on Craigslist, right? I'm like, ooh, MRI study. They'll pay me like $200 and all I gotta do is fill out some surveys and sit in a tube for an hour. Call and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'd like to participate in your study. And they're like, sure. What hand do you write with? I'm left-handed. Is that okay? I'm sorry. You don't qualify for our study. Thanks for calling. So you don't want to give me a job because I'm left-handed. I see how it is. You guys, you don't want the lefties in your study because our brains are just too awesome. We are gonna make your MRI machine explode. All like, oh, left-handed brains are different from right-handed brains, so we can't use you in our study. Well, lefties are 10% of the population. How is your study supposed to have results that are generalizable to the remaining 10% of the population if you don't include lefties in your study? So you've already decided, okay, lefties have different brains. I accept that. We have different brains. Our brains are made of awesome. But that means your studies doesn't mean anything for left-handed people. You've just ruled out 10% of the population. People do studies on populations that are smaller than 10%. People do MRI studies on just schizophrenia, okay? That's less than 10% of the population. What about like the left-handed schizophrenics? I mean, that is a minority there. But then one day I finally found an MRI study that did not hate lefties. I did my MRI study. I had to take out all my piercings. I don't know if you noticed in one of my other videos, I was missing a bunch of the piercings. Nobody noticed. I don't think you did. You weren't like, oh, her piercings are taken out, so she must be getting an MRI. So I've been trying to get an MRI study for so long because I really wanted to see what my brain looks like, you know? I mean, it's this thing. You have it right here in your head and you never get to see what it looks like. I don't know if I'm the only one who has this curiosity, but it's right here. I can't see it because there's this skin and there's this bone and it's blocking my access to seeing what it looks like. And I start to worry, like, you know, what if there's something wrong with my brain? The first time I ever shaved my head, there was kind of a worry of, what if there's some kind of weird mark on my head? I mean, I've had this hair here my whole life. Maybe there's some kind of huge mark on there that I just would never have known about if I hadn't shaved my head. And of course, then I shaved my head and all was good and there were no weird marks. But before the MRI, I was just like, what if there's a huge hole in the middle of my head and just nobody would ever know? And somehow I was managing to function through life completely fine with this ginormous hole in the middle of my head. So I got my MRI and yay, there's no holes in my head. It's very exciting. Here's a picture. The report that they gave me with it said that my brain was unremarkable, and I suppose in this kind of context, to have my brain called unremarkable is probably a good thing, because I guess if it were remarkable, it would mean there was an alien in my head or something. Unremarkable is good. There's no holes in my brain, except for the ones that are supposed to be there.